So, what did being naive and gullible ever did for you in this life? Exactly, nothing. Hi, Belle Beauties. Welcome back to my channel. This is the third episode of the Manipulation Tactics series. If you go to my channel, there's a playlist for the series. The first video in this series is called Pretty Girls Are Used. And the second episode is called Be Respected, Not Liked. Both of those videos cover these tactics. So, love bombing, playing victim, disingenuous acts of kindness, cloud chasing, the scarcity principle, bait and switch, passive aggressive behavior, and isolation. So we are not going to talk about those manipulation tactics in this video. Okay, so check those videos out if you haven't already. So in this third episode of the manipulation tactics series, we will talk about why you're easy to manipulate. Okay, so signs that you can be easily manipulated, something that you might be given off. Okay, and then we will talk about new manipulation tactics in this series, in this video, and then solutions. Okay. So the first reason that you're easy to manipulate is because you're easily seduced. Okay. So seduction is not just about romantic courtship or sex. Okay. Anybody can be seduced, but you have to find the right victim to seduce. And what makes you a perfect victim for seduction? So, number one, you might be shy, introverted, or have social anxiety. If you are this way, you're a better target for seduction because more than likely, um, you're eager to be drawn out or engaged, right? You might not know how to socialize, but you really want to, but it's hard for you to initiate. Predators notice this and they know seducing you will be easy, right? You might feel relieved that they initiated socializing with you, and you might fall for love bombing or friendship bombing, tactics. If you have trouble socializing, you are probably deprived of social engagement and friendship. So when somebody talks to you or tries to befriend you, you probably become very excited and might quickly attach and cling on to that person. And this eagerness can cloud your judgment, right? And it makes it harder to see if their intentions are genuine or just manipulative, right? When you've been deprived of meaningful social interaction, it's easy to kind of overlook red flags or warning signs just because someone is like finally showing you the attention that you've been craving. Like if somebody has been deprived of food for weeks, okay, the first food that they see, they will indulge, no matter how bad or nasty or how potentially damaging it could be for them. Okay, that's the same thing here. If you are more than likely, and if you're shy or introverted or have social anxiety, you're more than likely isolated. So when you're isolated, you don't have your ears to the streets, right? You don't know you don't know that everybody knows that this guy or this girl is toxic. Nobody warned you, right? So you're out of the loop. And this is dangerous and makes you a target for manipulators and toxic people. So what's the solution to this? Okay. So if you are shy or have social anxiety, you need to work on that. Okay, go to therapy and get to the root cause of the issue of why you're so afraid of social interaction. Start developing hobbies or interests that makes your life interesting, where you can meet new people and build friendships that way. Okay. You also need to you need exposure therapy. So if you're socially anxious, the solution is not to hide yourself away from society. Okay, you need to keep exposing yourself to social interactions so that you can build that socializing muscle. Okay. Practice makes perfect. The more you socialize, the better you will get at it. So get in the group chats, know what's going on around you. You will know who is toxic and who isn't because people gossip, right? You're not isolated anymore. Okay. Now let's move on to number two reason why you might be easy to manipulate. Number two is people with time on their hands. Okay. If you don't have a life or you don't make the necessary changes to create a life for yourself, you will be easy to seduce, okay? Because your life is probably not exciting enough, right? So when somebody is exciting, when somebody that's exciting enters your life, you cling on to them and either overlook the red flags or you do see them, but you allow them because this is the most exciting thing in your life currently, right? Because this person brings so much excitement to your life, you may ignore behaviors that would normally raise concerns, right? Maybe they're a little too controlling or they don't respect your boundaries, but you excuse that behavior because you feel that they've added so much excitement and value to your life, right? So you might think, oh, this is the most fun I've had in ages, so I'll let it slide. Oh, she's so funny, I'll let it slide. Oh, she's so fun, like I still want to hang out there, so I'm just gonna let this remark slide. I'm just gonna let what she did slide. This mindset makes you more vulnerable to manipulation because the person knows you're willing to compromise your standards just to keep them in your life. Okay, if you're not actively creating a life that you enjoy or working towards meaningful goals or hobbies that you enjoy, you're more likely to rely on someone else to fill that emotional void. Right, so you have a lot of time on your hands, so people know you will always be available to them to use. Okay. So, what's the solution? The same thing I said about if you have social anxiety, get a life, okay? Set some goals and work on them. Have hobbies, have interests. Take a vacation, okay? Make your life interesting so that you're not easily seduced, okay? If you're not creating a life that you love, you will always have the time, all the time in the world, to become a sidekick in somebody's life. So they ask you if you're going to do something very last minute, you don't have anything else to do because you're not doing anything with your life. So yeah, of course you can go over there and be their sidekick, right? They ask you to help them with something last minute. You don't have anything else going on in your life, so you can do it, right? So you're easily used, you're easily manipulated, you become a psychic in somebody's life because you're not actually creating your life. Okay. So if you have a lot of time on your hands, you're easy to seduce. Okay. Number three, you are naive or gullible. Okay. You probably think humans are inherently good. Okay. You probably think if you're nice, people will be nice to you. You probably think if you don't have bad intentions for people, that they don't have bad intentions for you either. You probably think people are horrible to you because you did something wrong to them. That's not always true. Okay. You probably think people aren't lying to you because you're not lying to them. You think people are not taking advantage of you because you will never take advantage of them. You probably think people need a reason to hurt or destroy you. Okay. If you think this way, you are probably naive or gullible. Okay. And this makes you an easy target to manipulate and take advantage of. Okay. Manipulators know how to take advantage of your belief that everyone has good intentions. Okay. They play on your trust, right? Because they know you won't be quick to question their motives, right? You might excuse their questionable behavior thinking like, oh, they didn't mean it that way, or they're just having a bad day. Okay. What did I tell you guys? Okay. I told you guys, stop projecting your own good qualities onto people. Okay. Just because you're a good person does not mean that they're also a good person. Just because you have no bad intentions does not mean they also don't have any bad intentions. Okay. They are not you. Stop thinking that way for them. Okay. Just be neutral whenever you're interacting with somebody. Okay. Don't project yourself onto them. Right. Manipulators don't always need a reason to exploit you. Okay. Sometimes your weaknesses or naivete is enough. Okay. Thinking that harm can only come with justification blinds you to the reality that some people will use you without any clear motive. Okay. Just for their own gain, just for fun. Okay. Just because they want to, just because they can, just because you allow them. Okay. So, what's the solution to this? Stop being so naive. Okay. It's crucial to educate yourself on human behavior. It's nice that you believe in the goodness of people, but not everyone has pure intentions. Okay. Matter of fact, most people don't have good intentions. Learn about red flags and manipulation tactics, like how you're doing watching this video right now. Okay. Develop healthy skepticism. Okay. Always question people's motives, especially when things seem just too good to be true. Okay. Don't take everything for face value. People can say one thing and mean another thing. Okay. So assess their actions and make sure that their behavior always aligns with your words. Okay. Trust should be earned over time, okay, based on consistent behavior rather than words, okay. So pay attention to patterns. Manipulators usually display a recurring behavior that reveals their true intentions. Okay, so if someone keeps crossing your boundaries or keeps lying to you or keeps using you, it's a signal to distance yourself, regardless of how kind or nice they appear. Okay, so stop blaming yourself for other people's mistreatment. Okay, sometimes people exploit others simply because they can. Just because you wouldn't take advantage of somebody does not mean they won't. Okay, so listen to your gut. If something feels off, trust that instinct. Naive people usually dismiss their intuition because they want to believe the best in others. That is working against you. Okay, avoid rationalizing questionable behavior. Okay, question everything. Manipulators rely on the fact that you will excuse their actions, okay? Because you think the best. You try to find the best in everybody. Stop doing that. Ask questions. If something seems unclear or suspicious, ask questions. Okay, critical thinking is your best defense against falling for manipulation tactics. Okay, all right. Question everything before you are overly empathetic. All right, or you are a codependent that wants to save everyone. Okay, so you probably believe every sob story that people tell you. Okay, you don't question if they're lying or why they're even telling you this in the first place. You allow people to guilt trip you and trauma dump on you. Okay, you probably believe every conspiracy theory without questioning it just because it pulls at your heartstrings. Okay, if you're this way, you are easy to manipulate, right? Because it's easy to pull on your heartstrings and make you emotional. Um, you want to save everybody, right? Because maybe when you were little, nobody saved you when you were going through that abusive, home environment or something. You wanted somebody to save you. So you vowed that you would never want anybody else to feel that way again. So you always want to save people, all right? So it's not about you wanting to save them. You want to save your inner child, right? We already talked about that in my video. You're not a good person. Check that video out. So you take on people's problems to help them all the time. You believe every sob story. You let your emotions control you. That makes you easy to manipulate. Okay. So what's the solution to this? Question everything. People lie, okay? Just because someone tells you a sob story doesn't mean that it's entirely true or that it's even true at all, okay? Ask yourself if the story is consistent, okay? Whether that person has a habit of exaggerating stories, and whether they're trying to manipulate you emotionally, okay? Ask yourself, okay, what does this person want from me? Why are they even telling me this? Why are they telling me this and not anybody else? Like, what do they want from me? What do they want me to do? They want something from you. Okay. Everybody wants their needs met. People are looking for their needs to be met. Okay. So if you seem like an easy target, they will come for you to do that to you. Okay. So what does this person want from me? Why are they telling me this? Okay. Um, People want their own needs met, and if they can use you to do that, they will. Okay, so you need to learn detachment. Okay, allow people to solve their own problems. You are not responsible for fixing other people's lives. Okay, you can be a supportive friend without carrying their burdens. Okay, remind yourself that just because someone shares their struggles with you doesn't mean that you need to adopt those struggles as your own. Okay, you can offer support from a healthy distance. Stop neglecting your own emotional well being in favor of other people's. Okay. Work on your self care, your self esteem, and understand that your worth doesn't come from saving other people. You being overly empathetic can be what is ruining your life and why you keep getting into drama and chaos because you keep taking on other people's problems trying to save them. Okay. And let me just say this last thing to close out this chapter. Manipulators try a bunch of people. Okay, you're not the only one. Okay, they've been spotted before. Other people can call them on their BS. Okay, or they spot the manipulation tactics early and they put up boundaries. Okay, so this is not their first rodeo, right? They know how they are. Okay, they know what they're doing. They know that they're manipulating you. Okay, you are not the first one. That's why when you don't question them or put up boundaries and you just believe them or just believe they have good intentions, they think you're stupid because they know they're not to be trusted. Okay. They know they're not to be trusted, right? They know the name of the game. They know most humans aren't good, right? So the fact that you just trust so easily and so blindly and just believe their lies and don't put up any boundaries makes them think you're dumb, okay? Because wow, this girl really can't see that I'm just lying to her and just using her and manipulating her. Like, wow, she really can't see that. She really thinks like people have good intentions. Wow. So you being naive makes them think you're stupid. Okay. And because they think you're stupid, they feel justified in manipulating you. Okay. That's the mind of a manipulator. Okay. Or a predator. Right. I'm telling you this, guys. This is not their first rodeo. Other people can sniff them out, right? They try that with a bunch of people, and some people know to discard of them and put up boundaries. So they're shocked when you don't do that. They're shocked when you can't see the manipulation, right? So that's why sometimes they will even outright call you stupid because they can't believe that you're not catching on. Okay. And lastly, I just want to say, not all the time, but sometimes when you are somebody that's super friendly or you're super nice and you're always the one complimenting everybody and you're always like overly excited and happy and whatever, a lot of people think that because you're that way that you're naive so they can manipulate you. They see friendliness and excitedness as you're childish, like you're immature. They see it that way, right? So because they think you're childish, they think you're immature. Because of that, they think you're naive. And when they think you're naive, they think you're stupid. And when they think you're stupid, they feel justified in manipulating you. They think they can manipulate you. So why that's why sometimes you see that you're the nicest or the most friendly person in the room, trying to make friends and whatever. You're the nicest, you're the happiest, right? You laugh a lot or whatever. That's why sometimes when you're that way, people try you first. Like they insult you first, right? They try to belittle you first because they think you're naive because you're happy, because you're excited, because you're, whatever. Now, I'm not saying stop being that way. I'm just saying learn to reel it in a little bit. And if not, learn to make sure that you spot insults, you spot belittling away right away and put up boundaries. Okay, that's all I'm saying. All right. Um, okay, so now let's move on to manipulation tactics. Okay. Like I already said before, I'm not going to talk about the most obvious manipulation tactics that's all over social media. And I already talked about some of them in my past two videos, so we're not going to talk about those. So these will be new ones. Okay. So first one that we're going to talk about today is flattery. Okay. So this is when people overload you with compliments or admiration to lower your defenses and gain control. Okay. So ladies, just because somebody compliments you does not always mean that that's what they meant. Okay. Manipulators know that compliments can be disarming. Okay. When someone constantly tells you how beautiful or intelligent or talented you are, you naturally begin to trust them, right? You start to like them. You may even start to believe that they truly have your best interest at heart, right? But beware, okay? Over the top compliments that feels excessive or unwarranted can be a red flag, okay? They're not necessarily being kind. They're trying to butter you up so that you'll be more inclined to say yes to their requests or overlook or rationalize their abusive behavior later on. Okay. So if they insult you later on, you will probably overlook it thinking that, oh, it's just a joke because they're always so nice to me. So it must be a joke, right? You will keep making excuses for them because their flattery lowered your guard, right? They shower you with compliments and then they throw a jab in there, here and there. And you think like, oh, well, they're usually nice to me and friendly, so maybe it's just a joke. I'm just being too sensitive. No, they're using flattery and compliments and praise to lower your guard, so that you feel awkward when you try to check them, because it's like, oh well, I don't want it to be awkward because they've been so nice to me, they've been so cool, like friendly, like people know what they're doing. Okay, they praise you so much so that when they throw jabs, you feel awkward and won't want to check them because you feel like they're actually really nice and it's just a joke and you're just being too sensitive. So people know what they're doing. I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes, especially over the top compliments and praise and admiration, sometimes they're doing that. They're doing that to lower your guard. Okay, you will keep making excuses for them because their flattery lowered your guard, right? So you won't think they actually have bad intentions with their words. Oh, it's just a joke. I'm just being sensitive. Let me not be sensitive and make it awkward. Don't let people's niceness or compliments or praise stop you from checking them or putting up boundaries when they cross you. I don't care how nice they were before or how much they praise you. When they throw jabs, check that right away. Okay. Don't think just because they were nice to you and they told compliments to you that they can get away with insulting you. Okay. They know what they're doing. Number two, hot and cold behavior. Okay, this is a manipulation tactic. So this is when manipulators fluctuate between affectionate or positive behavior. So that's the hot, right? And distant or negative behavior, which is the cold, right? And this tactic is used to keep you emotionally off balance and dependent on the manipulator's approval or affection. Okay. So this makes you insecure and you become invested in winning back the manipulator's affection. Okay, so this behavior creates a sense of uncertainty that keeps you engaged and seeking validation from them. Okay, so they use affection to first draw you in, right? They all these compliments and all these, praises and admiration and whatever that makes you feel valued or loved, right? But then out of nowhere, they withdraw or become very emotionally unavailable, or very abusive, or very mean and very cruel, leaving you confused and questioning what you did wrong. So that this kind of goes in with what I just said with my first point about flattery. So this whole thing is called a trauma bond. Okay, this is what a trauma bond actually is. Okay, I see a lot of people on the internet like misusing the word trauma bond to mean that you and somebody else share your traumas and you bond over that. Guys, that's not the definition of a trauma bond. Okay, a trauma bond is formed when someone uses cycles of positive and negative reinforcement to create a psychological dependency. Okay, so you're emotionally manipulated into tolerating the mistreatment because in between the hurtful behavior, there are moments of affection or kindness that gives you hope that things will get better like it was in the beginning. Okay. So that's why sometimes it's so hard for some women to leave relationships because in the beginning the guy was so good, so nice, so kind, give her compliments, treat her well. And then like eventually the guy pulls back, okay, either goes or they become distant or they just start insulting you and throwing jabs and devaluing you and all of that. That's called hot and cold behavior and is meant to trauma bond with you. So like Stockholm syndrome. And it leaves you confused. Okay, and because you're confused you will stay in that relationship longer because like, wow, they're so nice sometimes, but sometimes they're mean. And then you would think that the problem is you, so you will stay in that relationship because you're always trying to get back to the beginning stages where it was so good, or like when they're really nice you want to get back to that. So there's periods of horrible behavior towards you and then there's periods of positive behavior towards you, and this is what creates a trauma bond. You are addicted to the positive reinforcement, right? So the negatives you stay in because you always want to get to the positive, even if you have to go through that negative cycle, right? For a little bit, right? So if you have a friend that's really nice to you one day or one week they're really nice to you, then the next day is they're very cruel, very mean, they insult you, they devalue you, they publicly humiliate you for no good reason. They are trauma bonding you. Okay, if you find other people asking you, why do you hang out with her? Why do you let her treat you like that? Like, why do you even hang out with her, girl? She treat you so bad. Like, why do you allow that? And you find yourself making excuses like, oh, she has a really nice side. You guys just don't know her like I do. Or you say things like, oh, that's just how she jokes. She just gets in her mood sometimes. Like, or something along those lines. like you always have to convince people that she's actually like not a cruel person, is probably a sign that you are trauma bonded or you're being trauma bonded. Okay. Same goes for romantic relationships. Okay. Let me just give you guys a quick guide. Okay. If you are ever confused on whether somebody actually likes you or not, they don't like you. Okay. When somebody actually likes you, you won't be confused, and they don't give mixed signals. Okay. They're not hot and cold. That's trauma bonding behavior. Okay. So if you're confused, they don't like you, and you're being manipulated. Okay. Get away from them, because it's only going to get worse. Okay. Because at some point, they won't even give you positive reinforcement anymore. It will just be all negative. Okay. So hopefully, I helped you guys. Hot and cold behavior is not normal. Okay. It's not normal for somebody to be very nice to you 1 second and then very cruel, mean, abusive towards you the next. Okay, you're being trauma bonded. All right, number three, labeling. Okay, labeling is a subtle but effective manipulation tactic. Okay, this is when someone assigns you a role or a characteristics or identity to box you into a certain behavior. Okay, so they might tell you like, "Oh, you're so nice, you're so helpful, you're so kind," and by giving you this label, they can control your actions because you might feel compelled to live up to that identity that they've assigned to you. Okay. So if you have a nice girl syndrome or good girl syndrome, or you're just desperate to be liked and validated, or you're just a people pleaser, you will allow this label to shape your behavior. Okay. So either by acting accordingly to that label or trying to dispel the label. Okay. When somebody labels you, they're trying to influence how you see yourself. Okay. If you're told you're always the dependable one or you're always helpful, you might feel the pressure to take on more responsibilities. Okay, even when you don't want to, you feel obligated to live up to that image that they've created for you, right? Even if it's not who you truly are or what you want to do, you're being manipulated. Okay. Labeling is often disguised as praise. So if they call you selfless or kind or helpful, you're the best, you're such a good person, they can make you feel like you should continue being that way for their own benefit. Okay. You want them to keep viewing you in that image. So you do whatever you can to have them keep seeing you as the good person, the kind person, the selfless person, right? You don't realize you're being manipulated. Okay. Or you do the opposite where you don't want them to view you in that certain label, so you spend all your time and energy trying to dispel that label. Okay, so for example, if a girl says you're probably a hoe because you dress like that, like you will spend all your time and energy trying to change their mind, so that they view you in a better light. So you won't go out as much anymore, right? You stop dating or talking to guys. You stop dressing how you dress. You don't realize it, but you're letting them control you. Okay, that's a manipulation tactic. So now you have no life. You don't date. You don't dress how you want. You're letting them control you. That's a manipulation tactic. So you're either trying to dispel that label or trying to live up to that label. Okay. Okay. Another example. My first corporate job, there was an older lady there who kept calling me quiet as if it was a bad thing. And mind you, I just got there, right? Like I'm still in training, like I'm trying to figure out how to do my job. Of course, I'll be quiet, right? But she will bring it up in front of everybody like it's a bad thing, right? So eventually I felt like, okay, maybe being quiet here is a bad thing, right? So maybe like I need to open up more, right? So I fell for the bait, trying to dispel that label. And in the process, they use what I shared with them to manipulate me and use it against me. Okay. She wanted me to yap so that she can have information on me to better manipulate and control me. Okay. So that's why in the Glow Getter Guide book, okay, now on Amazon, okay, the first chapter is literally called Who Am I? Okay. You literally dump all the information about yourself, your achievements, your personality, all of that in that chapter, right? Because, like I say all the time on this channel, if you don't know who you are, people will tell you who you are and you will believe it. Okay. So if people try to label you go back to your facts on your Who Am I chapter, okay? The way you that way you won't feel the need to either prove or disprove anything to anybody because you know exactly who you are, okay? And when you know exactly who you are, it's harder to manipulate you, right? It's almost impossible to manipulate you, right? Also, recognize that you don't need to live up to anyone's expectations, okay? Just because someone labels you something doesn't mean you have to take on that identity or try to dispel that identity, okay? Let them keep thinking whatever they think. All right, let's move on to boundary testing, okay? That's a manipulation tactic. So, boundary testing is when someone deliberately pushes or ignores your limits to see how much they can get away with. Okay. The goal is to gauge how far they can go before you push back or stop them. Okay. A manipulator might do things that make you uncomfortable or test your patience. Maybe like they arrive very late to your hangout or they invade your personal space, right? Or ask for favors that might inconvenience you, right? They push your boundaries little by little to see how much control that they can exert over you. Okay. If somebody keeps crossing your boundaries, right, that you set, they are manipulating you. Okay. They are hoping that you give up that boundary so that they can get whatever they want from you. Okay. They might downplay your boundaries, making you feel like you're overreacting or being unreasonable. Okay. This is a way to make you doubt yourself and question whether your limits are actually valid. Okay. So if you notice that somebody keeps asking you for the same things that you've already said no to, okay, or they keep touching you even though you told them not to do it, they are testing your boundaries. At that point, you will have to follow up, your boundary with consequence. Okay. So either walk away and distance yourself from them, yell at them, cuss them out, tell them about themselves or whatever. Okay. You need to enforce your boundary in order for people to respect them. Okay. Manipulators are very persistent. So if you encounter somebody that is very persistent after you already set a boundary, they are toxic and you need to get away from them. Okay. Don't allow someone to make you feel guilty for setting limits and don't let their repeating testing wear you down. Okay. Stick to your boundaries and enforce them. Okay. That's a manipulation tactic. They want you to abandon your boundaries. All right. Number 4, utilizing you as their army. Okay. So, my overly empathetic and codependent people. Okay. This is where you get in trouble. You allow people to manipulate you to fight their battles for them. Okay. Manipulators often try to recruit others to do their dirty work by using them as their personal army. Okay. They might persuade you to fight their battles, okay, confront other people on their behalf, or spread gossip and rumors. Okay. This allows them to manipulate situations and people without their own getting their own hands dirty. Okay. That's why I keep telling you guys, stop letting people trauma dump on you. Okay, or tell you their sob stories about how much of a victim that they are, and the world is just against them. Like they're gonna try to recruit you for their own battles that they created. It will make you feel like you guys are friends, you guys are on the same team, like like you guys are good friends and whatever. They position themselves as a victim or someone that is in need of your protection. Okay, so by doing this, they play on your empathy and loyalty and convince you to take action against their perceived enemies or problems. They will fuel your anger or loyalty by telling you exaggerated stories about how someone has wronged them, making you feel like you need to step in, right? You end up fighting their battles thinking like you're defending a friend, when in reality, they're just using you to achieve their own goals. Or you speak up for them and get all the backlash, right? Your reputation is ruined, but theirs is still intact. So they play on your natural instincts to help and protect those you care about. They bombard you with their sob stories to make you feel like it's your duty to defend them. Okay. So they might exaggerate or distort facts to make the situation seem much worse than it actually is. Okay. And it feeds your sense of loyalty. It makes you believe you're doing the right thing because, again, you're overly empathetic. You're codependent. You want to save everyone. And when you're manipulated into fighting their own battles, right? and getting involved in conflicts that have nothing to do with you, you think you're helping a friend, but what you're really doing is allowing yourself to be used as a pawn. Okay. In the end, you're the one who's going to end up with drama while they stay behind the scenes and maintain their reputation and avoid accountability. Okay. What's even worse is that once you fought their battles and stepped into the fire for them, you end up bearing the consequences, right? You might get backlash from other people, right? While the manipulator is unscathed. Okay, they can even deny involvement if things go wrong, right? Leaving you to face the fallout alone. This is why it's so important to set boundaries when people start trauma dumping on you or making you feel like you owe them your loyalty, right? If they start trauma dumping, redirect them to the Trauma Dump Journal on Amazon by Balazi Entertainment, okay? Always remember that not everyone who plays the victim is really a victim, okay? And not every sob story that you hear is the full truth or even truth at all. Okay. People lie. Don't let your kindness or empathy be used as a tool for manipulation. Don't go on dummy missions. Okay. People will use you if you allow them to. All right. All right, glow getters, that's the end of the video. Check out the Glow Getter Guide and Trauma Dump Journal on Amazon. The Glow Getter Guide is an amazing book for discovering who you are, where your boundaries and standards are, and how to set them, how to do the inner work so that you can learn how to play these power games, okay? The Trauma Dump Journal is great for dumping your traumas and navigating healing your past the right way. Okay, there are many tools and prompts in there to help you heal your trauma. Also, both of these books now have ebook versions on Amazon Kindle. For those who were worried about like shipping prices to your countries and stuff like that, the ebook versions have the prompts and instructions in each of the books. It just doesn't have that lined, paper for you to write in. So you can use your own personal journal to do the prompts. But the ebook is now on Amazon Kindle. Okay. I will leave all the links in the pinned comment below. You guys can also check out my link tree to access everything that I have. All right, glow getters, I will see you in the next video. Bye.